Got a foul now. They throw it away. Nobody's going to touch it. They're going to leave. Freeman should have let it go. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's going to go up. Elamine down the lane, spinning against Greer. The shot. Good! Elamine scored with 2 seconds to play. Now the Panthers from half court. What a win! What a win by Connecticut. Unbelievable comeback. Colin Elamine to the rescue for the Huskies. They win at 72-69, a heartbreaking loss for the Panthers.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam, brother.
I tell you, you kind of look like me. I just had somebody up here that looked like me too.
Yeah.
You know.
It kind of runs in the family, you know?
I mean, let's just dive right into it. Are you still the best that came out of Minnesota?
That's a good question. You know, the humble person.
We don't like humble people on Trap Right, though.
The humble person inside of me would like to say that, you know, I let the fans determine that. But the competitor in me is always going to say yes. I would say from the body of work that I've done throughout my high school career or throughout my career leading up to college. I think it is really unmatched, but like I said, man, I would let the fans out there determine that, and I'm happy with whatever they choose. But I feel like that, you know, over the course of the time that, you know, my body of work and what I've done on the court speaks for itself.
And for those that don't know, this is Khalid Elamine. He's my uncle, but he the best to come out of Minnesota. Like, come on, he the best to come out of Minnesota. He was a North High 3P. Talk us about North High. Let's start with the 8th grade. How about we start with 8th grade?
Well,
North High.
Coming up as an 8th grader.
Or was it 7th?
Well, no, I started in 8th grade. You know, I grew up, I guess you'd say, a student of the game, really a student of North High tradition. And I knew the excellence that went into North High. I was the water boy coming up for many years. You spoke to McCrom. I was the water boy when he played. I was also the water boy after he finished and leading up to in the early 90s, watching great players, Charles Jackson, Derek Rubin, who played with McCrom, Andre Belfield. These guys were superstars in my eyes, and having the opportunity to be their water boy was a privilege and an honor for me. And so getting to coming up, leading up to 93, 94, North had made a slight downturn in as far as the winning tradition was concerned. You know, North was always winning the city conference, always going to the Twin Cities game and winning the Twin Cities game. But those couple of years, 92, 93, leading up to 94, we didn't do so well. And me having the Northside pride, you know, that hurt me inside to see the Polars lose as much as they did, because I have never witnessed that growing up. So leading up to my 8th grade year, I was motivated to bring the winning tradition back. We had a very good team going into my 8th grade year, which was Chris Rainey, my brother Ishmael Elamine.
So you 8th grade year, though, that was varsity?
That was varsity, yes. I played little JV, but I played got varsity minutes also.
Did you know you were going to play varsity?
Heading into the season, no. I thought I was just going to be a JV player. I knew I was going to possibly get some minutes, but I didn't think it was, because we had such great players at North High at the time. So I didn't have dreams or aspirations of playing varsity in my 8th grade year. I just wanted to go and help the JV team win. And I think I was able to do that. I was able to help the JV go to the Twin Cities game, win the Twin Cities game. But never did I think I was going to be a varsity player as an 8th grader.
So were you playing 2 halves varsity and 1 half JV as an 8th grader?
Well, back then, I forgot what the rules were, but yes, I was playing 1 half JV. I was playing 1 half JV and played a half on varsity.
Okay.
I think that's what it was back then. So yes, I was splitting time between JV and varsity.
I mean, being young playing up like that, sometimes you could. Did you have any enemies like that, or not even enemies? I shouldn't say enemies, like fighting enemies.
No, but it was competition,
Yeah.
and the upperclassmen. No upperclassman wants a younger classman to come up and take minutes away from him, right? That's just like a professional. You have a savvy veteran and a rookie comes in and taking minutes. You are going to feel a certain type of way to that. And I think Coach Robin Ingram he understood that. He was very delicate with that situation. I have heard him say that's one of the reasons why he didn't play me as a seventh grader is because of that main reason. There was a lot of big egos on North High School as a seventh grader and as an eighth grader. So I really just tilt my hat to Coach Ingram because he was very delicate and understood that, and he kind of massaged that plan for me to, start on JV, show what I can do on JV, and move me up, slowly. But
do you remember the moment, though? Do you remember the moment?
No, I don't remember the exact moment when I came on varsity. I just knew that I was one of them. I just knew I was one of the players on the varsity team. I never saw myself as a JV player because I always played pickup with these guys. I lived next door to these guys. I practiced with these guys. So it was never a moment that I didn't feel like I was one of the guys. So me making the chef, it was just a clean transition for me as an eighth grader because I knew that I belonged.
So y'all three-peated, though, during your high school career.
Yes.
So what year
sophomore, junior, and senior year.
What happened freshman year?
Freshman year, we ran into a great Washburn Millers team, which they end up winning. They end up winning state that year. They had they had a terrific team, man. They had Byron Suttles ran the point. Aaron Boone was the 2. Akeem Carpenter was the 3. Adrian Patterson was the 4, and Big Eric Minia was the 5. Man,
they probably brag about that. Like we kept you from 4P.
And truthfully so, they should. We had classic games. The 2 times that we played them, we actually beat them when they were number 1 at their home over in Washburn, and then they came to North, and I think they dubbed that the big payback game, and they were able to beat us at North. But it was definitely the classic games during the Minneapolis Conference back in 1994 and 1995. It
was different back then, though. It wasn't classes. It was 1, right? Or was
No, well, it was class. It was Class A and Class AA. We were the bigger school, bigger population, so we were Class AA. And we definitely had to meet each other in the regions in order to go to state. We both couldn't go to state. So that third game in the regions, we didn't play our best game, and the better team won. And I can say that they had a better team than us that 1995 season, or 1994 season, excuse me.
But you was highly recruited. You was one of the first people that was highly recruited out of Minnesota.
Oh, definitely. Coming up, playing against older guys, I think that got my game or sent my game to a higher level at an early age, being able to understand how to protect the ball, understand how to win. And, I can count that or I can say that's because of those all those nights at the YMCA on Broadway, playing against upperclassmen, playing against grown men at the time, understanding how to play the game, understanding how to win. I don't think they were taking it easy on me at all, man. I think I had learned over playing with them over the years how to play with those guys and what I needed to do to be successful. And I think it was just experience that really helped me doing that. And playing at the YMCA really groomed me to be a winner. It's nights where if you lost one game, you probably weren't going to get back on the court that night. So winning took preference over everything, took preference over how many points you scored that game, how many rebounds you got. Winning the game is what counted. And I think, that's what separates the generations, I think, from right now is the lack of being a winner and actually putting that first and foremost.
Y'all had a pretty good team, though, y'all at North, when y'all three-peated. It wasn't just you, right?
No, we had the best team. I might have gotten a lot of, or most of the notoriety, but the team around me, it was great. Ozzie Lockhart was a shooter who, if I was double teamed, I could kick it to him, and I knew he was going to knock it down at a high percentage. We had Kayvon Westbury, who was a lockdown defender. So I never really had to guard, the best player, so to speak. I sit Kayvon on him, and I would be the help side guy because, I didn't like to play defense that much. So I was always the help guy who come and get the steals. Yes, for sure. Now I'll come and get the steals. Jabbar Washington, he was the 6'2" power forward who controlled the backboard. He played above the rim. And he was just so smart. We had such a great chemistry that he always knew to find an open spot, and I knew where to find him at. And we always had a center, which was Elbert Wall or Kerrick Taylor, Albert Green. We always had that center who knew how to play and who didn't need the ball that much because he didn't get let me get you straight, he didn't get a lot of touches. But he always was the anchor to our defense, and having those three guys solidify our guard tandem was just the complement that our team needed. So, yes, those 3 years, we were a well-rounded team. We could play up-tempo fast. We can play the slow-down game. And defensively, we were going to pressure you, turn you over, speed you up. And, you just played right into our hands when you try to play fast. So we just had all the components, and we had a lot of experience on those teams, man. A lot of AAU games, a lot of pickup games at the Y, and that's what helped us become such a great team and subsequently go on to win 3 state championships in a row.
What year was you jumping on tables and stuff, though?
Man, that happened early on. And it just,
that was only one time, or?
It was one time in high school.
One time in high
that
school.
was in 1996.
Right. Okay.
When I hit the game winner against St. Thomas Academy.
Was that state championship?
It was the quarterfinal in the state. It was the quarterfinal in the state.
Against St. Thomas?
Against St. Thomas Academy.
A miss. Lockhart to Elamine to win it. Yes! Khalid Elamine with the win!
We're going to go back to that because you now coach. So we're going to go back to that.
I am. I run the show at St. Thomas Academy now, so it's kind of full circle, so to speak. But, yes, it was a monumentous game, man. They had the Twin Towers, Javier Collins and Matthew Lee, 6'7" and 6'8", respectively, and those guys controlled the backboard. And for the majority of the game, we were winning, but coming down the stretch, they took the lead, and, I guess the soul and the heart of a champion just came out at the crunch time. Us being down by 1, 5 seconds left at the free throw line. They were shooting. Matthew Lee missed 2 free throws, and we were able to get the rebound and got the ball to me somehow, and I was able to dribble up the court and hit the shot. I practiced that in my mind at the Y thousands of times, and I just wanted to get off a shot at that point. I didn't want us to lose. I know if we had lost that game.
Were y'all down at that point?
We were down by 1.
Because, sometimes people, they be tied up, so it's a little easy tied up.
We were down 1, so we actually needed the bucket to score. And only 5 seconds left. I wasn't going to be able to get all the way to the rim. I had to pull up, and I pulled up for a 3. And, that shot made it 9 3-pointers, which was a state tournament record at the time, 9 3-pointers in a single game. So, it was a lot of firsts in that game, but I was happy to get the victory because winning counts, and winning is what matters, and we were able to advance. But St. Thomas Academy, they really pushed us, man, to be great.
What was your record against Henry, your high school career?
The games that I played in, Henry never beat me. But unfortunately, I was out one game. My grades wasn't the best. My parents took me off the game, said I couldn't play that game because I didn't have good grades, and they beat us.
I know that was tough.
They beat us at Henry. Yeah, that was tough to watch.
Tell me about that. How was that, though?
Yeah, that was. I
know that was a letdown for your team. It was a big game,
Yeah,
were they mad at you?
Definitely.
Your team?
No, I don't think that they were mad at me. I just think that for me, I was more, I let myself down more than I felt like I let them down. You know, being that I held myself to such a high standard and not taking care of the business in the classroom, which is part of my job as a student athlete. I didn't do that. I didn't live up to my responsibility. So it was due. You know, it was the consequence of not taking care of business. So yes, I felt like I let the team down, but those guys fought hard. I think Henry got a little bit of home cooking from the referees that helped them win, but I was
What
there.
year was that?
I was there cheering them
Remember?
on. That was my 1997.
97?
Yeah, my senior year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about the hub. How the hub helped development, people's development in the hood, though.
Well, that even goes before the YMCA. Growing up at the hospitality house, man, it was. And when you look back at it right now, man, it was so much talent that came through the hospitality house. It was ridiculous.
It was always that small.
It was always that small, and we always played, you know, going sideways. There was always two courts going, and you know, that place though, man, it bred straight hoopers. It was where I really got my killer mentality, right? Because you playing against older guys and they had no pity on you, right? They're going to just take it from you. If you can't dribble the ball, they're going to take it from you. You got to find a way to figure it out. You have to figure it out how to protect the ball, how to make a shot. And I was able to do that, but it took me some time. And I can just remember me playing up. I was a second grader playing on my brother's 7th grade team. And I think this is just where the switch, or the summer where I switched from an average player, and I just worked on my game the whole summer because there were tryouts to go to Texas, an AAU team going from Minnesota, and the tryouts was taking place, and I forgot my hoop gear that day. So I had to try out in jeans. I might have had my Chuck Taylors on or some funny stuff like that. So I had to try out like this, and needless to say, I didn't put my best game forth, so I didn't make the team.
Oh, you got cut before?
Granted, I was playing up 5 grades. I was a second grader trying out for a 7th grade team, but I thought I should make the team because I'm with these guys every day. And so
I think you got cut regularly. You got cut for 5 years up.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. So that summer, I remember like it was yesterday, they called the team out. My name was not called out. And I can remember me putting my hoodie over my head and walking out the gym just feeling terrible, just feeling, you know, upset. I probably went home, cried to my parents. And I can remember that summer, I practiced, worked on my game 24/7. I vowed to myself to not get cut again. And I think my game, like I said, went from an average player to a good player, especially at my grade during that summer. So, you know, everybody has to go through that. Everybody has to go through that learning experience, go through that tough time, that adversity. And I was able to do that in the 2nd grade, and it propelled me to be a better player.
In high school, during your high school career, who were some of your rivals as far as like player rivals?
Well, you know, I enjoyed dominating, right? So to me, there wasn't really any rivals. Of course, we have the North Side rival with Henry.
I mean, like other good guards at the time.
Well, there were always good guards. You had Jared Nunes from Hopkins. You had Mike Pettis went to Henry. You had Donnie Gross and Arian Farrar at Roosevelt. You had Rob Mestis at Roosevelt. You had Moochie at Southwest. You know, you went up against good guards that could play, but I always felt like I needed to show that I was better. And that's from coming up, being groomed at the hospitality house, enjoy dominating. It's okay to dominate to show that you're better. At the YMCA, you have to show that you're better to win those games. And so I was coming from that mentality. So I always had my A game going, and it was just unfortunate that, you know, they ran into such a dominant player like myself because, you know, I didn't take it easy on them at all. And
you said Mike Pettis?
Mike Pettis. Mike Pettis that's Terry Pettis' brother.
Okay. Older, yep. Younger?
Older brother.
Older brother.
Yep.
So Terry Pettis was younger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
And, you know, like I said, we prided ourselves on dominating, and that's what I wanted to do night in and night out. And I always wanted to separate myself. And I think that's the difference a lot of times between when I played and players right now. How are you going to separate yourself? You have to somehow. And I was able to do that with my play, with my hustle. I always played hard, but I also had skill to do that with. And I think younger players have to embrace that, no matter if it's rebounding, no matter if it's just hustling on the court, playing defense. You have to find your way that you can stand out to a college coach or stand out to a high school coach. And once you are able to do that, to understand what you're good at, you have to try to master that craft. And I was able to do that at all aspects of the game, but you don't have to be great at all aspects. You just have to be great at one. And if you can master that, and that's how you separate yourself, then you're going to be noticed from the college coaches or high school coaches or just coaches on the next level, period.
So you felt like you was like, from young, you was always like battle tested. That would help you be like mentally tough and be
always
able to
playing against older guys, yes, and them not taking it
crazy
easy
to you.
Yes, taking the ball from me, beating me up, me having to go home crying. Even playing with my brother, Makram Elameen's older guys. You know, he's 8 years older than me. So trying to compete against guys 8 years older than you, who's taking the ball from you, who's calling you shorty and all this type of stuff, yes, that teaches you how to be strong mentally, physically. And when you play against somebody your own age, it's like you're playing against somebody 8 years younger than you, because it's no comparison when you're playing against your own age. So I just felt like I had an upper hand every night out.
You were supposed to go to the university, right?
Yes, I had committed to the University of Minnesota as a sophomore. I love the maroon and gold. This is what I grew up watching every Saturday. Melvin Newbern, Willie Burton, Jim Shikenjansky, Ariel McDonald, Randy Carter. These guys were superstars in my eyes going through the University of Minnesota, and I wanted to play for the maroon and gold. It was just unfortunate when it was my turn to come to college in 1997. Unfortunately, the 1996 Final Four team that the Gophers had, all those guys were leaving. And so I was going to come into the Gophers with, not to be disrespectful, but we didn't have that good of a team. It wasn't going to be a good team. It was going to be me and some other guys, right? So my whole thing as wanting to be a winner, I wanted to compete for a national championship. I wanted to bring Minnesota a national championship, but my vision wasn't the same.
You had to know that though, right?
And that's the reason why I decommitted from Minnesota. And I opened up I was allowed to take 5 visits at the time. And I had opened it up. I took a visit to the University of Kansas. I took a visit to the University of Georgetown. Roy Williams was the coach at Kansas at the time. John Thompson, the legend, was the coach at Georgetown. I took my official visit to the University of Minnesota, let them wine and dine me a little bit. And I also took the visit to the University of Connecticut, where I actually played with the team. And those visits were great. I was able to see, Georgetown just wasn't ready. They were like Minnesota. They weren't going to be a good team. They just weren't ready. The University of Kansas, I wanted to go there. I really thought I was going to go there. But when I took the visit to the University of Connecticut, man, and I played with the team, it was just like, it felt like home. It felt like they just needed a player like me. I was doing everything that I normally do at North High. I just brung it to the East Coast, and it was a fit. And so when I played with the guys, I was like, yeah, this is the place for me. And, the coaching staff embraced me. The teammates embraced me, even from my visit. There's legends, at the University of Connecticut that when I came on my visit, I was running a show, this senior in high school running the show like a sophomore or junior.
Was Ripping them already there?
Team. Yes, they were there. And I was telling them all what to do. You go here, you do this, come set the screen now, roll hard. I was just being myself. To me, I was just being myself, but to them, that's what they lacked, and that's what they didn't have. And so, like I said, it was just a match made in heaven, and we were able to be very successful at the University of Connecticut, man. So that's how my whole college situation changed from committing as a sophomore to actually going to the University of Connecticut.
It had nothing to do with like the U, because right now the U has problems getting hometown kids.
No, and I think that's a big difference. Coach Clem Haskins, he came after me. He came after me. Yes, I was the best player in the state, so I think he actually had to, but he really showed the interest and he really wanted me. But unfortunately,
it was a clip. I don't know if you seen it, came out. Jalen Suggs on a podcast.
Yes.
And he was saying how they really didn't engage.
They dropped the ball. They dropped the ball.
So
that coaching staff dropped the ball. It was much different for me. Nope. I felt the love, and I knew that they wanted me, but at the same time, they had to respect my wishes, and that was to compete for a national championship. And I couldn't have done it by myself, so I wanted to go somewhere where I had the real chance to do that, and the chance was going to be with the University of Connecticut.
Did you get, like, what kind of feedback you get from that, though?
Oh, it was tough, man. I mean, all the fans, the Minnesota fans, they crushed me. You know what I mean? They,
lucky you wasn't Twitter back
I
then.
swear, it's lucky there wasn't no Twitter and all that. I mean, the blogs would have went crazy on me, but I had my critics, you know, and they didn't like that. I didn't respect, you know, my commitment, but I had a bigger picture. And I think that I made the right decision. I'm a part of history. No one can take away my national championship in 1999. I was a starting point guard for that team. We beat University of Duke, and I'm forever going to be etched in history. So I think I made the right decision on going to the University of Connecticut, but I still love the University of Minnesota with all my heart. I wish and I hope my children, my basketball players, will go there.
What's some of the worst criticism you've heard?
About that decision?
No, just about you as a basketball player.
Oh, you know, I think going to the next level.
Going to college, that's what
I don't know. Going to college, maybe I was too small, you know, and I always use that as motivation. I never let that get me down. Never in my career. I was always this height. So I didn't even know what they were talking about. You know what I mean? I'm always this high. I don't care if you're 6'8" and I'm looking up towards you. We're the same. That my feeling at. And I felt like, you know, I'm going to show you on the court. Like I said, I'm going to stand out. I'm going to do something on the court. And most of the time, it was because I was smarter than my opponent. You know, I was always able to, because I didn't look as fast as I was or as quick as I was. So I was able to outsmart my opponent with my quick first step. People didn't think I can shoot as well as I could, so, you know, they will always sag off me because I was a little bit quicker and I could hit the open shot. So I always try to stay a step ahead of the scouting report, and just being a good point guard, seeing the floor, being able to pass, being able to control the game. And I think that's a lack of skill that we have in today's game. The point guard, you have to be able to control the game, and I don't see that in volumes of point guards able to control the game. Yes, they're able to run the offense, pass the ball, shoot the ball, but actually controlling the game, that's a skill that you can't teach, that you have to be born with. And so you can just see how the great Chris Paul is controlling the game right now. I think he's probably the best point guard in the league. And when you have a point guard who understands that, or a player who understands that and knows how to do that, it makes the coach's job so much easier. And I think that's where I got my reputation of, you know, just being the extension of the coach on the floor, because I always wanted to be the smartest player on the court, or try to use my brain as much as possible because of my lack of physical size, my lack of jumping ability, and all that other stuff.
Do you think that you are more fitted for this game today than you were then?
Yeah, probably. I think so. I think, you know, they're not allowing you to hand check. I played in an era where you can hand check. You can actually slow the offensive guy down with that hand. And now you can't even breathe on a guy or it's a foul. So I think I would have flourished in this type of game here. But, hey, I can't help when I was born. I made the most of what I had to do in the era that I played. And, man, I feel great about the career that I had.
But you were like, I feel like, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it was more traditional point guards at that point in time.
It was.
And you were kind of a difference. right?
A little bit,
I mean,
yes.
you kind of had both, but you definitely could fit. You could put the ball in the hole.
Yes, for sure.
Did they like that? Were you shooting too much?
Well,
what was that?
Coming up, my high school team, we needed that, right? We needed that scoring. College, some games, we needed that also. But when I went to the pros, no, that's not what we needed in the pros, right? So I had to adjust my game. And early on, I didn't want to adjust my game. I wanted to be the same player I was in college. And so I think that's where we had a little bit of conflict, me and the coach with the Bulls. No, I need to put the ball in the hole, coach. I don't need to do all that. And I think, you know, I should have been more of that playmaking type of guard and took a back seat at first until I got my, you know, my feet sturdy in the league. But I wanted to continue to play how I always played, and I felt like that's how I was going to be effective. And, you know, for me, it worked in Europe, and I would continue to be the scorer that I was. But in the NBA, I needed to be the pass-first guard, and I didn't want to do that.
In college, though, especially in the East Coast, the Big East, the fans is hecklers.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's everywhere.
Tell me about the heckling that you received. Tell me what you're seeing on the side.
What? I'm talking about signs, Doughboy signs. Guys got the Domino's pizza boxes holding them up, right? Just trying to kill me, man. But that goes back to me being mentally strong, growing up at the hospitality house, growing to play at the MCA on Broadway, where these guys are just taking the ball from you, not allowing you to do anything, right? So you had to be mentally tough. I think that's what prepared me for a lot of those, you know, those hecklers out there. You know, words didn't hurt me. You know what I mean? Like words don't hurt. So I was able to channel that, use that as motivation. When guys say doughboy or hold up the pizza box, I'll come down, make a move, score, and then look at them. Right, and at the end of the game, when we won the game, I get the last laugh. You know what I mean? So that's
sound like that Pittsburgh game.
That's what I prided myself on. Yes, you can talk, you can do all that heckling, but at the end of the game, we're going to beat you, and I'm going to get the last laugh. So you got to use that as motivation, and I hope the young players or any young players that's seeing this interview try to take that and use that, because there's no way you're going to be able to tell that player to come on the court or that fan to come on the court and you do him. No, you got to do it within the game, right? And so being able to do that, to be mentally strong, to still play the same way that you always play, that the way that your team needs you to play, to stay focused, but at the end of the game, you still keep that in the back of your mind that, hey, we're going to end up winning this game, and I'm going to show you we're going to win.
That Pittsburgh game, though, talk to me about that game. That's what you jumped on the table that game too, right?
I did.
I'm just saying, like, talk to me.
That environment was crazy. You know, I think those guys must have drunk 2 kegs, but all the fans drunk 2 kegs of beer before they came into the arena, because these guys were hostile. But we were number 1 at the time. Pittsburgh, they had big aspirations. They wanted to come and be ambitious and knock off the number 1 team, and they played a great game that game. Man, them boys was hitting. Vonteego Cummings, Ricardo Greer. They were a tough, gritty team, and they could play. And so they were able to knock down some shots, and they had the lead going into the last possession. I think we were maybe down 6 or 7 with like 45 seconds or something like that, and we just rallied at the end of the game, and somehow we were down 1. I found the ball in my hands with 5, 6, 7 seconds to go, and I was able to dribble up the court and you know, made a little hesitation move, spent off Ricardo Greer, and was able to hit a little, you know, turnaround or spin. It was a splint floater jump shot. I don't know if that's even a real shot, but I spent and I shot a little jump shot, mid-range, right in the lane, and it looked good from when it left my hand, and it was able to go in. And, you know, I just wanted to, first of all, I didn't want to lose. We were number 1. If we were going to lose that, we were going to be pissed, right? And second, just the whole mentality of the fans. They were being disrespectful. You know, I'm a Muslim. They're saying derogatory statements to me about being Muslim. They were already calling me fat boy and all this goofy stuff. But me able to get the last laugh was just a beautiful feeling. And that's why I jumped up on the table and had to point to the crowd and let them know that we were number 1 still. Good game, but maybe next time.
What was Calhoun like?
Well, Calhoun, in public, he would say that was the wrong thing to do. You know, he wanted us to keep us classy, walk out the arena, you know, and when we got back in the locker room, then we can celebrate. But, you know, he was going to keep it politically correct. But when we got back in the locker room, you know, he was with us, you know, and I don't think I can say some of the things that he said on this network. I know this is a family-friendly station, but, you know, he was definitely excited that we got the win and we were remaining #1. And he didn't like those fans at Pittsburgh either. Neither did I.
What type of coach was he, though?
He was a player's coach. He was a player's coach, man. He didn't let anybody mess with his team. He's the one who really gave me the sense of urgency. I learned that from him, man. The games that we lost, that next morning when we practiced, you can tell he hadn't been to sleep. Red eyes, looking tired, sleepy, but still had that fire in him, just roasting. And he's a coach that is going to hold you accountable. And if you're one of the better players and you didn't play up to your potential, you were going to know it. He was going to let you know that. And so having that sense of urgency, having that person to hold you accountable, and which every good player wants to be held accountable. And I was one of those players that if I didn't play well and you told me about it, I was going to show you the next game that I was going to return back to the player that I was. And I think Coach Calhoun really brought the best out in me in doing that. And he was always, you know, just a master of, you know, some players respond to what I'm talking about and some players didn't. So he always knew how to handle which players knew how to handle that and which didn't. But for me, I just respect that, you know, the way that he held me accountable and that sense of urgency that he put in me, because that lasted me and that continued throughout my professional career and made me be successful.
You tell you go back home before?
No, I don't think he ever told me to go back home, but
He never say pack your bags?
No, he never say pack my bags, but he said a couple of four-letter words, four-letter words that weren't nice, but it made me respond. It made me show up, right? And I think that, you know, he was just a master that knew how to pull my or how to get me back focused and made me want to be motivated to come back and show who I am. You know,
he got you down as like the best winner he coached, right?
Yes, yes.
I think he was
so.
on record saying something like that.
I mean,
that's a big compliment though, with all the players that he done went through.
And I'm happy for that, but I attribute that to going back to the YMCA days and the Hub days, being able to be a winner and be known as a winner. I prided myself on coming down the clutch, coming through for my team in the clutch, because that's when the best players have to step up, right? And so taking pride in that moment of the game, he understood that from me and he respected that. And I'm happy that he said that. I'm happy that I had to, you know, that I was awarded that type of accolade from him, man, being that he is a Hall of Fame coach and he's coached greats that play in the NBA. Come on, Ray Allen, Richard Hamilton. I mean, the list goes on and on. Rudy Gay. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kemba Walker, and he says that I'm the greatest winner. That's big time, man. That's big.
Let me see. Was it a mistake not entering the draft right after y'all won?
It depends who you ask.
Because you entered the draft the year after, correct?
The year after, yep. I went back to we won the national championship my sophomore year, and I went back and played my junior year. For me, no, it wasn't a mistake. I felt like I wanted to play one more year of college, but from those outside looking in, maybe, you know. But for me personally, no. I wanted to go back to college and play another year.
Overseas, talk to me about overseas, because a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices you got to make going overseas, the adjustments. You know, it just sounds like a check, a big check. Yeah. Oh, let's go over the, you know,
right,
and cash in this check. But just tell me about some of the hardships that you went through.
Well, for me, I just think, you know, you spend 10 months away from your family, right? My family didn't always or weren't always able to come over with me. So, you know, I would leave August, beginning of August, and I don't come home until June. And so it was tough as far as that is concerned. And people from the outside looking in, they just see when you come home, they just see, you know, the fruits of your labor. They don't see that hard work you got to put in, the 2 practices a day, those 10 months you spend away from your family, all the downtime you have. And so for me, I just had to really be strong and be focused and love who I was, because like I said, it's only you out there by yourself. You know,
sometimes it's hard to communicate, right?
Yeah, well, we had the Skype, you had the telephone that you can talk to your family, and thank God for Skype, because we were able to see each other. That technology was coming in, came in, but it was tough, man. The game is different. It's more of a team game there. The fans there don't respect you scoring 40 and losing. Nobody remembers that player. If you score 6, 8 points and win, everybody's going to celebrate you there. So that's where the misconception from a lot of American players coming over, they think they're just going to go there and get buckets and make themselves look kind of ridiculous, because that's not how the game is played. That's not how they're going. That's not respected there. And so just having that mentality of being a winner, it kind of suited me. And I was able to do my thing offensively, get shots up, but still run the team, but ultimately win. And they respected the winning. And so I just think that's one of the biggest things over there, learning to become a winner.
I'll say, Kyrie Irving, he was just fasting and playing in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I know you did many years of fasting and playing. Yeah. Tell me about how that feels.
It just gives you an inner strength, man, that you can't explain to someone who has never fasted, and they wouldn't understand. But it gives you an inner peace, an inner strength, and an inner confidence in you that you're doing something because God wants you to do it. And so that gives you the strength and gives you the motivation to go out and still perform at a high level, even though you haven't ate or drunk anything since the sun came up, right? So, yeah, it's hard to explain for people to imagine going through a game and doing that, but it is hard. You get thirsty, you are hungry, but you have to focus, and it makes you stronger mentally, man. And I think that's why a lot of players who have fasted have such great numbers during the month of Ramadan, because you are focused. You do have that motivation that you are pleasing your Lord, and it just gives you that toughness to go out there and go through the perseverance or go through the adversity and still come out on top. And, you know, I've had terrific games during Ramadan. I know all the players who have fasted, one night or another, they're going to have a career night during Ramadan, because you're just focused.
Mm-hmm. Back to the Bulls. You made it to the rookie game that year.
Rookie All-Star game, yes.
Who were some of the players on that team? Who was y'all playing against too?
It was myself, Mateen Cleaves, Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson, Steven Jackson.
Were you starting that game?
Mark Brown, no, I didn't start. I did not start, but I had 18. I came off the bench, had a hot 18. And we played against the sophomores, which was Baron Davis, Elton Brand, who was my teammate at the time, Wally Zerbiak.
Was that when you played against Steve Francis?
Steve Francis, all those guys, man. I mean, they were the sophomore group. We were the rookie group.
I got into a fight one year over you and Steve Francis.
Oh, man, for what?
Because, man, they wanted to show me the clip. I guess he shook you a little bit, you know, and...
Oh, man, it's the NBA. That's going to happen,
I know.
nephew.
I didn't want to hear that, though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to hear that, so I had to let you know that. But then I'm like, did y'all see when he scored on Iverson, though? Did you see that part?
Yes,
Dang,
yes. I respect that. And that's the part of the NBA that players really don't know. Man, the NBA is the best players in the world. I mean, just imagine, I'm playing Iverson one night. I have a back-to-back. Then I got Stephon Marbury. I rest a night. We travel. We go to Utah. I have John Stockton. Then after that, we're going to go out west, and I'm playing against Travis Best. I'm playing against Terrell Brandon. And then the night after that, I got Andre Miller to play against. Then I got to go guard Gary Payton. I mean, you never get a night off. That's the difference in the league. You never get a night off. And so that was a major adjustment for me coming in as a rookie. You know, in college, St. John's might have a good guard, but you go in and play against Seton Hall, the guard might not be as tough. Or, we're playing against Sacred Heart one time, and, I got a night off, basically. But in the NBA, you get no night off. It's always a tough night, and you got to bring your A game every night. And it's a grind. It's difficult, but I'm happy that I was able to make it there, live out my dream, even if it was for a short time. I can say that I made it, and I really respected the time. I learned how to become a better professional because I went to the NBA as well.
How you feel about players getting paid now?
Oh, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know how hard it was to get that money? When I played, you had to really be Michael Jordan to get the way these guys are getting paid now. But it's just the evolution of the game, the way the game has grown internationally. And but I'm happy for these guys, whoever, to set their families up and put them on another level. I just wish I was born 15 years later. Damn, Dad.
Is there a Mount Rushmore for you for Minnesota basketball?
Well, that's a good question. I've never. What do you mean now? From all time?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, I have to say there is. Well, I've never really thought about that. I never really thought about that. Damn, I got to think about that. Huh?
It's just 4. You know.
Wow. Well.
But I'll let you think about that a little bit.
I mean, I have a good idea. I mean, it has to be Kevin McHale, what's the criteria? Is the question.
It's you make the criteria.
Yeah,
it's
see,
your,
okay,
it's your Mount Rushmore.
Kevin McHale. See, my criteria is winning, right? And there was a lot of players who have game, but they didn't win, not on the level that you should have won, right? So I gotta say, myself,
Kevin McHale,
and myself. The other two, so I got to get some names thrown out at me because I black out a little bit.
I mean, you want some young boys? How you feel about Tyus?
I mean, I would say Tyus. Did Tyus win state?
Yes.
He won state? Okay, yeah. I'll put Tyus there. I'll put Tyus there because he's doing a phenomenal job. So that's 3. And maybe Jalen Suggs. I didn't have an opportunity to play against.
What about like Mac Irv?
Those guys.
Or Lawrence McKenzie, I should say.
No, I know he was a tremendous talent.
They won 4.
Yeah.
He went to Henry. You don't like it.
I just don't think. I mean, I know he was a great talent, man, but I don't think he's on the Mount Rushmore. That's all I can say. I don't think he's on the Mount Rushmore. But I know they won 4 state titles, which has not been done. They had a great run, but I just don't think that he's on the Mount Rushmore.
What was the guy?
No disrespect.
Do you remember the guy from Hopkins that hit the shot from the floor?
He's not on the Mount Rushmore, no.
Okay. So we got Jalen Suggs, Tyus, you, Kevin McHale.
Just quickly, yes. Yes. And that could be debatable, I know, but, for me, you got to win. You got to be a winner, and you got to you got to have done something. You know what I mean? And so those players were dominant players, I believe, also. So I'm looking at it at that aspect too.
What you doing now these days?
Well, like you said, I'm doing some coaching. I coach St. Thomas Academy. You know, I do a lot of basketball training.
This is your first year there?
Yeah, it was my first year there.
How y'all do?
16 and 12. So it was a drastic turnaround from 2 years ago. They won 2 games 2 years ago, and we bumped them up to 16 wins. So it was a phenomenal season. And, you know, I learned a lot, you know, as being a head coach. And we're just going to try to keep that momentum going. You know, we don't have the biggest school. We don't have all the plethora of talent as other programs or other schools, especially public schools. So we have to make the most of what we have, and we have to develop the players that we have. And I think that our coaching staff is the best in the state, because we can develop those players who are not highly talented, not highly skilled, but we get the most out of them because of the coaching, because of the training. And so I'm very happy with the season that we had. And like I said, we just want to keep that momentum going on to next year.
I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't have hired you at St. Thomas.
Well,
if you hit the shot on me and then I'm not hiring you.
Well, when one of the 4 Mount Rushmore greats come inquiring about the job, I think, you know, the AD was smart to take the call. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
he wanted to win. He wanted to bring the winning tradition back, and we're going to get it back there. And, you know, so that's what I'm doing with basketball, man. I'm always around the game trying to give back because, you know, Minnesota has given me so much as far as basketball is concerned. And so I want to pay that back in any way that I can. And right now with St. Thomas Academy, but I'm always training. I'm always helping out players in the city if they need it and whenever they need it. So, you know, I'm accessible. I'm not just out the loop.
Talk to me a little bit about.
Oh, yeah, that's where my passion is now. You know, life insurance, especially in our community, is something that we need more education, our community about. And I'm just happy to be, you know, one of the many agents that's bringing this service to our people. Not only in our community, but I'm bringing through the whole state of Minnesota. But our community really needs that, because as we see our situation and the things that's going on in the city, you know, killing, shootings, and all of this stuff right here is being just young people that's passing and not having the opportunity to get a life insurance policy, preparing for that, right? And so, you know, just see a lot of times young mothers have to set up a GoFundMe or go to church and pass out a hat around to try to, you know, get some proceeds to bury their child or bury their mother. I just think that we can have so much more dignity when that time comes, no matter if it's, you know, if it's planned or if it's a sudden death. You know, having that cushion, having that insurance will help keep the burden off the family. And so, you know, a lot of times that's how we lose our things like that, you know, not having the ability to have life insurance, and we lose the breadwinner of the family. And, you know, we lose our homes, we lose our assets because we no longer have those funds, you know, to lead the household. But, you know, a lot of times if we can have a life insurance policy, that would help, you know, especially, you know, when the breadwinner leaves the family, it helps that transition and helping the family get back on their feet. And so I'm so happy and so passionate about getting that opportunity out to our community to help them, to help families. So, you know, so we can make that transition easier, and so we can just mourn our family and bury our loved ones and not have to worry about where we're going to come up with the money to put them for their funeral, and so to speak. So, yes.
Also, it's ain't it ways to, like, borrow against life insurance?
Yes, it's a way to invest using that. Yes, there is. With different whole life policies, you can do that with. They generate money over time. Like you said, you can borrow money against that. And so, yes, they're helpful tools to help grow your wealth, to help, you know, sustain your wealth also. So, you know, there are annuities that you can do. You know, right now I'm helping out with annuities, mortgage protection. So you know, something happens to the breadwinner, he passes. You know, you have a life insurance policy that would pay off your house. Different things like that. There's helpful situations, helpful policies for our people that may not know that these things are out there. So bringing this education is something that I am happy to do. I'm passionate about, and I'm just glad I've helped so many families up to now secure, you know, their family's funeral, their family's mortgage protection, or setting up an annuity for a family. Man, it just makes me feel good, and it puts that family in a better position.
But you need to do it not when you need it, right?
No, you should do it as early as you can. The younger you are, the more cheap life insurance is going to be, right? If you wait until you're older, it's going to be more expensive, especially if you got health conditions. You know, you're only one day away from not being able to be insured, right? If something dramatic happens, you have a heart attack, or you get cancer, you know, these insurance carriers are not going to insure you. So being able to get that insurance where you're young and get it while it's cheap and keep it, maintain it, it's only going to be the betterment for you and your family. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help. And I would love to assist any family who needs that, because we need that. Everyone needs that. If you have a child, you have children, you should have life insurance. Even if you don't, no matter if you're 20, 21, 18, you need a policy for yourself, man, especially if you have children and you have someone that you're taking care of.
Well, yeah, we got, no, you got to get going. We'll wrap it up a little bit. Just let them know where to find you at. Or? Oh yeah, well you can definitely find me, Family First Life. You can 612-232-5228. That's the number. You can call my work line. Call it, text or call. You're going to get me, and I can help you with the life insurance. You know, basketball camps. You can go on St. Thomas Academy. You got a camp coming up?
Yes, we got camps coming up June 13th through the 16th. We got summer workouts going June 1st through July 31st. Cadets.com. Go on to the basketball page. You see all the information about that stuff. But yes, I'm around. I'm accessible. And so if you need life insurance, or if you need to work on your game, reach out, and I'll be there to help you or to assist you. I appreciate you interviewing me, nephew. This is a beautiful platform you got here, and this is just the beginning. I'm sure this is going to grow and be bigger and better as each interview goes, and I'm happy to be one of the first and be a part of this, nephew.